If you want to learn how to move your shimmies from side to side in a circle and a figure of 8, I'm going to show you how to do it in just 1 minute a day. Hi, I'm Charlotte Desorgher, and if you're an intermediate or advanced belly dance student or a teacher, I am here to inspire you and teach you to be the very best dancer you can be. Audiences love shimmies, and if we can move our shimmies around, it's really impressive. Particularly if we can start doing all sorts of fancy things with our hips moving and shimmying at the same time. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by doing a side-to-side shimmy. This is definitely the best first steps in getting your shimmies moving. What I'm going to suggest you do is to start off just by finding out the kind of like the extent of your movement of your hips out from your body. Now what I'm doing is I'm keeping my upper body still and in the center, and I'm just extending my hips, just sliding them out from one side to the other. So I'm not moving the whole of my body, the upper body staying center, and I'm just stretching it out. Now my hips are massive, so you may not be able to move your hips out as far as I do. You just want to move them as far as your own body allows, and maybe just get used to just stretching them out a little bit further than you might do otherwise. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get a good shimmy going. Now, what I would really encourage you to do is to get that shimmy nice and big and fat and wobbly. And the way that you do that is by making sure that your knees are moving quite a lot and that they are not moving too fast. One of the things that people often do is they tighten up their quads, they tighten up their thighs here. They actually sort of pull up, it's like pulling up your knees, your thighs out of your knees sometimes. You can feel them tightening here. And that creates, I'll come a bit closer, that creates a tiny little vibration shimmy. Whereas what we want is a nice big fat wobbly shimmy, which is much, much better for people to see, particularly if they're not so close to us. So, to do that, you have your knees a little bit more bent maybe than you might have done normally, and you make sure that these thighs are nice and soft, that they're not pulled up and tight. And you don't worry about making those knees move a bit slower than you might do otherwise. Sometimes we feel like we're being really clever to go really fast with our shimmy, but the trouble is it then doesn't get seen. Yeah? So get those knees nice and soft, relax your thighs, and get those legs wobbling, get those knees wobbling. And the other thing you can do is think about trying to just get those hips coming up and down. The other thing as well is be careful that you don't lock those knees out. Don't actually feel that they're going back too much, yeah? Just keep it nice and soft, nice and wobbly, nice and kind of juicy shimmies. And as I say, try and get a little bit of up and down going on here, and then you'll get a shimmy that is really seen from a distance. So we've got that shimmy going. Let's just slide it over to one side. Now you'll find as soon as you slide over to one side, it'll start to feel a little bit odd. It'll become more difficult, obviously, because what's happening is the weight is in a different place. So when it's here, you've got your weight nice and evenly down through both legs. Stick it over there and your legs, it'll almost feel like one leg shorter than the other. And the weight is actually over this leg, and this leg is actually a little bit unweighted. So it'll feel quite weird, and you just want to get used to that. And then get it back to the center again, and then slide it over to the other side. If you find that difficult sliding over, just stick that hip out and just get those legs moving and just trying to get a nice big shimmy going on. Now, I said to you that you could do this in 1 minute a day. What I did when I was learning how to move my shimmies was I literally every morning, after I got out of the shower, I would do a minute shimmy drill, just practicing whatever it was that I was trying to work on that day. So wherever you are in moving those shimmies, just practicing that one thing, and just do it for a minute. Don't try and do too much. The thing is, if you do it for 1 minute a day, every day, I promise you will get awesome at doing shimmies and doing moving shimmies and all sorts of fancy things. And the thing is that we can always manage a minute. Also, the big trick, the really important trick, is to always do it at the same time every day. And the best time to do that is after brushing your teeth, or if you shower in the morning, immediately after your shower. Because those are things that we do every day. So particularly brushing your teeth. You brush your teeth every morning, just stand there in the bathroom and get your shimmies going. 1 minute, even if you're late for work, you can still do 1 minute or 30 seconds. But the key to really, really improving your dancing, improving your technique on something that is quite tricky, the real key is to do it a tiny amount, what I call micro practice, every day. So it's doing it consistently for a small amount, consistently and with focus as often as you possibly can. As I say, when it's something small like this, to do it every day, that will just move you on. You will be amazed at the results. You just got to keep it up. And that's why the great thing is to find a time that you know that you'll always, there's that trigger, brushing your teeth, makes you think about doing your shimmies. Okay, you can even shimmy while you're brushing your teeth, but you need to concentrate. So we've got that shimmy going. We've slid our hip out to one side. Now let's get a little bit bigger, and then let's move it into the center, and then over to the other side, and then get it back to the center, and over to the other side, and back to the center, and so on. Just smoothing it out, maybe going a little bit faster once you've got that action going a little bit faster, just sliding side to side, and take your time. Take as many days as it takes to actually get there, and you'll get there. The next one is the hardest one, and that is to do a circle. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by feeling what it feels like to have our shimmies coming forward. Yeah? And that won't feel too weird, so you can see that I've got my hips forward here. Yeah? And then you've got to push your hips to the back. So put your bum to the back and get that shimmy going. Now that is where it'll really feel weird. That is very, very strange, because your shimmy is then unweighted, yeah? You haven't got the weight going down through those legs. So it will feel really kind of like loose and odd. It won't really feel like a shimmy at all. You see, I've got this hips back. I've got to actually get my hips moving up and down. My knees are moving as normal, but it just won't feel quite like a shimmy. It feels more like running, yeah? So just feel what that feels like. Have a look in the mirror if you can. Just make sure that that looks okay. And as I say, it will feel weird because you've got all the weight back here. So you can then go from front to back. Feel how that feels. Yeah. Quite different one way to the other. Now we're going to start joining up all the corners or all the points of the circle. So we'll start at the front, get that movement going. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my hip round to the side. Not too difficult. Let's go round to the back. This is the hardest place. This is difficult, okay? So you might need, it might take you a week or so to actually get this working. So what I would suggest this is kind of like back diagonal. So it's what I would think on the clock as being 20 to 8 on my body. Yeah. So I'm back here and I'm going to try and get that shimmy going. And I would really, really urge you to get this one working, because if you can get this working and over the other side as well, of course, then everything else is going to be okay. So these are your hard ones. They're really difficult because, just because your weight is in an odd place. Your legs are, they're sort of like, it's just a strange place to be, and it will feel really, really weird with that shimmy. So get yourself there, start to get it moving, then try and get it a bit bigger, and then try and get from there round to here. And that is a tricky one. You'll find it'll be quite jerky at first, And don't worry about that. Or it might just not work at all. You might just find it impossible to actually get those knees and those hips moving from there to there and then over to there. So take your time. Minute, 30 seconds every day. You will get there. I promise you will. It's just a case of feeling it and testing it out. And once you've done that, of course, and you feel quite confident going back here, then we can start to join it all up together. And you're aiming to get it nice and smooth and slow. Don't do what a lot of people do, which is to go around really, really fast and pretend that it's working. Yeah, it's just a kind of like, it's just a big cheat. Take your time so that you know that you are doing an amazing shimmy at every point. And then that means that no matter how fast your music or what it is you're trying to do, you've got control over those movements. You know that you can do pretty much anything, yeah? Particularly once you've got that circle going, that really, really sort of, kind of like enables you to do all sorts of really, really awesome things. Because this is, as I say, this is the hardest thing. Get it as big as you can, get it as smooth as you can, yeah? And then the final one is not as difficult, and that is to do a figure of eight. Because as I say, once you've got the circle sorted out, you'll find that all sorts of other things will really come so much easier. Keep your weight when you're doing a figure of eight, keep your upper body in the center, and make sure that you get a good twist going on in those hips. Whether you're going forwards or backwards, you want to make sure that it's being seen as much as you can. And then you can start to go on to doing all sorts of fancy things here. Now, I am doing this with, my shimmies aren't quite as easy as they used to be because I now actually have metal knees. I have replacement knees. So my knees are made of metal and plastic, but they still work. So maybe not quite as well as they used to be, not as even as they were, but yeah, I can still do a good moving shimmy. And you will too. Any questions you have or any problems you have, just put them in the comments below and I promise that I will answer them. And also check out my other videos. I have a new video coming out every Friday, and so if you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, then you won't miss out on anything. And I'll see you next time. Have fun with those shimmies.